Well, some economic numbers just coming out here. PCE, personal consumption expenditures, a measure of how much money U.S. residents spend on goods and services. Looks like that number came in, I'm just reading this right now off of CNBC, 0.1% month over month. That's what the expectations were. Now, all in all, there was no economic news that was going to necessarily drop this morning that I think was dramatically going to change the way we talk about the economy over the next 40 days until the election. But either way, here to talk about that and react is Steve Moore. He, of course, worked for Donald Trump when he was in the White House as an economic advisor. And who knows? Hopefully, Steve Moore will be back in there talking economic policy. Steve, good morning. Great to have you on KCMO.
Good morning. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, take me through right now, 40 days to go. The economy is still issue number one in this election.
Good.
How do you feel like Kamala Harris is doing trying to sell herself as the economic wizard to the American people?
Well, it's like trying to do a Rubik's Cube, trying to figure out what she's going to do on the economy. Although, look, we know what she will do. We know that she has a voting record that is clear, which is that she was the most liberal voter in the entire United States Senate when she was there. Believe it or not, you're not going to believe this. Her voting record was to the left of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
That's hard to do. I mean, that is hard to do, Steve Moore.
I know. You need a crowbar to get to the left of them. I mean, so she is a doctrinaire leftist. She's running as some kind of moderate who's pro-business and anti-big government. But we know from her voting record, we know from the record of the last 4 years that this has been a very, very poor performance with respect to the economy. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to come on your show this morning is, are you ready for this? I have a new book that literally just came out 2 days ago, and my co-author is the famous economist Arthur Laffer. And ready for this? The title of the book is The Trump Economic Miracle. And we did have an economic miracle when Trump was president. We had the best economy ever. The first 3 years of Trump's presidency were amazing. And, of course, then we were hit with COVID, and that changed everything. But we've got to get back to the policies that worked. And one of the things we show in the book is that by the way, folks, you can get it on Amazon. I think it's like $12.95. It's not but the point is that it's a really good book for people to look over, especially if you're an undecided voter, because what we do is just take the official government statistics and look at how the economy performed when Trump was president, everything from jobs to incomes to mortgage rates to grocery prices to gas prices to small business conditions, the stock market, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And on 18 of the 20 major measures that we would use to determine how an economy is performing, Trump's performance is far superior to that of Biden and Kamala. And so if people are voting on the economy, which I think most will, then this is a slam dunk, right? I mean, in every instance, Trump's performance is better. And then you have to look at what these candidates are talking about. I mean, Trump is going to make his very successful tax cuts permanent. I'm very honored to have been one of the people who worked on that with Trump, with Laffer and others. We're going to drill for American oil and gas. We're going to have better trade deals. We are going to get government off the back of our small businesses. Kamala wants the biggest tax increase in the history of the United States. Somebody's got to tell me, no, seriously, somebody has to tell me, how are you going to make the economy stronger if you're going to by the way, I was on Fox the other day, and Sean Hannity asked me, Steve, is this the biggest tax increase in American history? I said, no, Kamala is not proposing the biggest tax increase in American history. She is proposing the biggest tax increase in world history.
Wow.
It's like she's been amnesia over the last 40 years. She would go back to the sort of pre-Reagan era when we had Jimmy Carter in the office. So this is a big election, and you really do have – it's not like they're both really close together. I mean, Trump is on Venus, and Kamala is on Mars when it comes to the economy.
Steve Moore is here. The book, The Trump Economic Miracle, find it on Amazon. And, of course, Art Laffer a guy who gets a lot of credit for the economic success of this country under Ronald Reagan. So two great economic minds, Steve Moore and Art Laffer, writing this book, which I'm glad you told me about.
Did I mention who wrote the foreword to the book?
No, you did not.
Yes.
Oh, Art wrote the foreword, or Trump? Who wrote the foreword?
Trump wrote the foreword.
Did he really?
And he wrote a very nice foreword.
Well,
yeah, he wrote a very nice foreword to the book, and so anyway, look, especially if there are a lot of undecided voters, and I get it. I mean, Trump sometimes can be his worst enemy, and I talked to a lot of people who, I've been on the road, and just, by the way, for full disclosure, I am a Trump economic advisor, so I want people to know that, but. A lot of people come to me and say, I just don't like Trump. I just don't like his antics. I don't like his name calling, things like that. And I go, I get it. I mean, sometimes Trump drives me crazy too. But if you care about our economic future of the country, if you care about your jobs, if you care about being able to pay your bills, if you worry about how much taxes you're paying, then it's not a contest, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, even a lot of my friends who are, strong Kamala Harris fans admit that, look, when it comes to the economy, Trump is better. I mean, almost everyone admits that.
Now, let me ask you this, Steve Moore. There was a piece this morning in the Washington Post, and it's like unnamed sources deals, but it says that J.D. Vance back in 2020 basically said that Donald Trump did not live up to his economic populist policies. How do you look at that? Because I'm sitting here saying Trump's supply side economics were really what drove the economic engine in America during his time in office. But he mixed in some of the populism that he pitched back in 2016. So how did he take Reagan's supply side and then bring in some economic populism as well to help make this whole thing work?
Well, Trump turned the Republican Party into the party of the middle class and working class Americans. So today, I mean, and I'm not just saying this, the polls and the results of the 2020 election and 2016 election prove this, that Trump did not very well with the very low income groups, not very well with in fact, the wealthiest groups overwhelmingly voted for Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. And it was those middle class, working class areas around the country where Trump is the middle class president. So the irony is, the comment is, these are policies for the rich. No. The person who is supported by the rich overwhelmingly is Kamala Harris. Because, look, rich people don't care about inflation. Right? I mean, if you make $5 million a year, do you care if the price of, eggs goes up to $4 a dozen? No, It doesn't affect you at all.
And by the way, if you're on food stamps, you don't really care either. It's the people in the middle.
Good point. Very good point. And so the people are being hammered by the inflation, people whose jobs are in jeopardy if manufacturing leaves the United States, are people in the middle. And so that, I think, is kind of an irony. And by the way, when Reagan won, and look, I loved Reagan. I'm so blessed in my life. How's this for being blessed? I worked for the two greatest presidents of the last 50 years, Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. And what's kind of interesting is that both of those presidents really rebuilt the American economy. And if you look people forget, Democrats have been in charge for 11 of the last 12 years. Did you know that?
11 of the last 12?
I mean, I'm sorry. Wait a minute, let me make sure. Let's see. 11 of the last 16 years.
Yes.
And so, I mean, and that's, that means if you're not happy with the direction of the economy, you can't really blame Republicans. I mean, they've been running the place. So it's going to be a really interesting election. I think right now, I mean, the betting market has it basically 50-50. And so, that's why everybody, if you care about our country, you got to get out and vote. You got to do it. Do it early if you can, because if people vote early, they have 100% voter turnout. People who vote on election day about 70% election voter turnout.
Well, you got to tell me, Steve Moore, if you've had a chance to talk to Trump about making sure you can still come on this show when he gets into the White House and you're working for him as an economic advisor. Has he cleared that yet?
Yeah, he said you can still be your chief economist, and I'll be his chief economist and your chief economist. How's that?
I love that.
Really, just to be honest, I don't really care. A lot of people, I mean, there's swarms of people who want to, be around Trump and go into the government. I really don't have yearning desire to do that. I worked for the government a couple times, and I'm not a big fan of working for government. I'm a private sector guy. But look, if the president calls and asks you to do something, you're going to do it because you do it for the sake of our country. But I just care about our country. I really do. I am so fearful that the American people may make a big mistake and fall for this Conan. She's just a phony, folks. She's just a phony. Oh, by the way, did I tell you? I forgot to start our conversation with telling you that. So I grew up in a middle-class town. Did you know that? Did you also know I worked at McDonald's? Did you know that?
Did you really? You were McDonald's, middle-class McDonald's. Are you a gun owner, too, who can't tell us where you bought your gun or what gun you have? Oh, that's great. But
this is just an example of it's all just rhetoric from her, And by the way, do you know how much we just did a little study at Unleash Prosperity? People should go to it and look it up. So we looked at all the people who are advising her and people who have advised Biden at the very top. The people in the cabinet, in the West Wing of the White House, the people running the regulatory agencies. Do you know the median years of business experience for these people?
Let me guess. 0. Yeah.
0.
Yeah. Please.
These are people. Look at Biden, Walz, and Harris, the three most important, Democrats in the country today. You add all three of their years of business experience, and you get one, and that's her 1 year where she alleges she worked at McDonald's. So why would anybody think these people can manage the economy and the business of our country when they not? By the way, I'm not saying they haven't run business. I'm saying most of these people have never even worked in a
private sector business. That is a stunning stat. Steve Moore, you're the best. Thank you so much for being here. The book, find it on Amazon, The Trump Economic Miracle. Thank you, Steve. Always great to have you on KCMO.
Have a great weekend. Take care.
You as well. Steve Moore, great stuff on 95.7 FM.